This video is about finding quartiles in the 5-number summary. So we're going to start with finding quartiles. What a quartile is it divides your data into 4 equal parts. And if you remember how to find the median, we're going to use that technique into finding our quartiles. But first, let's look at what quartiles does to your data. If this was our data set, and this was our smallest value, which we call our minimum, and this was our largest value, which we call our maximum, and all the data is in between. What we would do to the data is first find the middle value, which is the median. And of course, when we're talking about quartiles, we would call this quartile 2. So the median and quartile 2 are exactly the same thing. They have the exact same value. Whether you call it the quartile 2 or the median, you are finding the same exact value, which is the middle value of your data. This divides your data into 2 parts. Each part is 50% of your data. And we need to know this when we look at interpreting what the quartiles do to your data. Next, what we would do is use that technique of finding the median to find the middle of each half. So when we find the middle of this part, this would be another quartile. This is the lower half of your data. The smaller values are on the lower half, and this value that we find at that middle is called quartile 1. We would do the exact same thing on the upper half. This is where the larger values are on the upper half, or the upper 50%. And when we find the middle value in that upper half, that would be quartile 3. And then we have our data divided into 4 equal parts, and each part represents 25% of our data. And so that's how quartiles divide our data, no matter how big or how small, into 4 equal parts. And we need to know how quartiles represent the data as we interpret what we get from the quartiles. Next, let's look at the 5-number summary, because they go hand in hand with the quartiles. So the 5-number summary is to find the minimum, quartile 1, quartile 2, which we also said was the median, quartile 3, and the max value. So when we are looking at quartiles, we know that we also look at being able to find the min and the max as well. Very easy values to also find when we look at finding the quartiles. Now let's look at an example. We have some values that are the speed values at a construction zone. Now at this construction zone, they want the speed limit to be 25 miles per hour. So they've collected some data to see what the speeds are in this construction zone. Now, if this data was just given to you in a random order, the first thing you would need to do is to put it in order from smallest to largest, because we would be finding the median. So I've already put the data in order for you. So we have 20, 24, 27, 28, 29, 30, 32, 33, 34, 36, 38, 39, 40, and 40. So we have 14 items in our data collection. Now we know when we have an even number of items in finding the median, that would be the two middle values averaged together. So let's find those middle values. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the 8th value. So using these two values to find the median, we would add them together, divide by 2, and our median value would be 32.5, halfway between those two values for the median. Now, again, what else do we call the median? We call that quartile 2. So the median and quartile 2 are exactly the same value. Now, once we have found the median, or quartile 2, it has divided the data into two equal parts. Now, because the median is not one of the actual data values, then this value to its left will also be one of the values on the lower half, and the value to the right would be one of the values to the upper half. If the quartile was one of the values, it does not belong in either upper or lower half. So counting the values to the left, we have 7 values. So the median of that set would be the middle value, which would be the 4th value. So that value is 28. And so that represents our quartile 1. On the upper half, the middle value would be the 4th value over from quartile 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, which would make it be 38. And that is quartile 3. So looking at finding the quartiles, we've divided our data into 4 equal parts. This is the first 25%, the second 25%, the third 25%, and the fourth 25%. Now, looking at our 5-number summary from that set of data, we would just list it in order. You can list the name of the values with it if you desire. So the minimum value is 20 miles per hour. Quartile 1, the value 28 is 28 miles per hour. Quartile 2 is 32.5 miles per hour. Quartile 3 is 38 miles per hour, and the maximum value in our list of data is 40 miles per hour. So that represents our information. Now, we had talked earlier about interpreting, so let's look at a few interpretations from our data. We could say that 25% of this data is less than 28 miles per hour. On the same hand, that means all of this, or 75% of the data, is greater than 28 miles per hour. So that means a lot of people are not observing that 25 miles per hour speed sign in that construction zone. Another interpretation could be that 50% of the data is traveling at less than 32.5 miles per hour. And there are lots of other interpretations that you could make from this, knowing these quartiles and the 5-number summary. So this is just a sampling of some interpretations that you can get from using that information.